There is something that holds more power over your life than your circumstances, more control over your future than your past, and that is the way you think. Your thoughts shape your reality. What you allow to live in your mind will eventually manifest in your life. So let me ask you, what are you feeding your mind? What beliefs are you holding on to that no longer serve you? What narratives are you replaying that keep you stuck in the same cycle? It is time to remove infected thinking. Infected thinking is that voice that whispers, "You're not good enough." It's the fear that convinces you you'll never make it. It's the doubt that says, "This is just the way life is and it will never change." It is the toxic mindset that keeps you bound to yesterday when you were meant to move forward into your destiny. And the truth is, if you don't address it, it will spread like a disease, affecting every part of your life, your relationships, your confidence, your finances, your opportunities. You weren't created to live a limited life. You weren't designed to carry thoughts that weaken your spirit. But too many people live under the weight of negativity because they have never stopped to question where their thinking comes from. Is it from past failures? Is it from the voices of people who doubted you? Is it from pain, rejection, or disappointment? Listen, you don't have to carry that anymore. You don't have to accept those thoughts as truth. You have the power to renew your mind, to reprogram your beliefs, to shift your thinking so that it aligns with the greatness that is inside of you. You have to be intentional about what you allow into your mind. Just like you wouldn't drink poison and expect to live, you can't feed your mind negativity and expect to thrive. You need to start replacing those toxic thoughts with thoughts of power, strength, and faith. Every time your mind tells you you can't, you need to say, "I can and I will." When you hear "you're not enough," you remind yourself, "I am more than enough." When fear rises up, you answer it with courage. You are not a victim of your thoughts. You are the master of them. It's time to take control. It's time to remove the infection, to detox your mind, to cleanse your spirit from everything that is holding you back. Because the truth is, the only thing standing between you and the life you are meant to live is the way you think. The moment you change your mindset, you change your destiny. The moment you refuse to entertain negative, limiting beliefs, you make room for abundance, for success, for purpose. So today, make a decision. Decide that you will no longer allow toxic thoughts to rule your life. Decide that you are worthy of joy, peace, and success. Decide that you will not let infected thinking rob you of your future. Because the moment you choose to shift your mind, everything else will follow. Your mind is the control center of your life. Every decision you make, every action you take, and every outcome you experience is first shaped by the thoughts you allow to take root in your mind. If you believe you are capable, you will walk with confidence. If you believe you are unworthy, you will shrink yourself to fit into spaces that don't honor your true value. Everything begins with a thought. The way you see yourself, the way you see the world, the way you interpret challenges, and the way you approach opportunities, it all starts in your mind. You cannot expect to live a life of abundance while entertaining thoughts of lack. You cannot expect to build a future filled with possibilities if your mind is constantly replaying the disappointments of yesterday. You have to become aware of the thoughts that are shaping your life, because whether you realize it or not, they are guiding every step you take. Your mind is like a garden, and every thought is a seed. Whatever you plant will eventually grow. If you plant doubt, insecurity, and fear, you will reap hesitation, missed opportunities, and a life that feels stuck. But if you plant confidence, faith, and determination, you will reap progress, breakthroughs, and success. Many people are living in the harvest of thoughts they planted years ago, not realizing that they have the power to uproot what no longer serves them and cultivate something new. If you constantly tell yourself that you are not smart enough, not talented enough, not good enough, then you will subconsciously create a life that reflects those beliefs. Your actions will follow your thoughts. Your words will follow your thoughts. Your energy will follow your thoughts. What you focus on expands. And if your focus is on limitation, you will experience more of it. If your focus is on possibilities, they will begin to open up before you. The problem is that too many people let their minds run on autopilot, unaware of the thoughts that are shaping their lives. They take on limiting beliefs from childhood, from past failures, from people who spoke words of doubt over them, and they accept those beliefs as truth. But just because a thought enters your mind does not mean you have to claim it as your own. Just because someone once told you that you weren't capable does not mean you have to live by that narrative. Thoughts will come, but you have the power to decide which ones stay. You have the authority to reject what does not serve you and replace it with something that empowers you. When you start to intentionally shape your thoughts, you start to reshape your life. If you want to step into a higher version of yourself, you must first train your mind to think at a higher level. That means challenging every thought that tries to keep you small. That means recognizing when a thought is based on fear rather than truth. That means catching yourself when you begin to doubt your own worth and choosing to replace those doubts with words of power. Your thoughts are either pushing you forward or pulling you back. They are either building you up or tearing you down. And the beautiful thing is, you get to decide which direction you allow them to take you. Many people do not realize how much of their potential is locked inside their thinking. They believe they are stuck because of external circumstances, but in reality, they are stuck because of internal limitations. They see obstacles where they should see opportunities. They focus on problems instead of solutions. They talk themselves out of possibilities before they even try. The way you think determines what you believe is possible for your life, and if your mind is full of limiting beliefs, your life will reflect that limitation. But when you shift your thinking, when you start to see yourself as capable, worthy, and powerful, the doors that once seemed closed will begin to open. The people who rise to the highest levels in life are not necessarily the most talented or the most fortunate. They are the ones who refuse to be limited by their own minds. They are the ones who see challenges as opportunities for growth. They are the ones who understand that their circumstances do not define them. Their mindset does. They choose to think in a way that aligns with their goals rather than their fears. They understand that even when they don't have all the answers, they can still move forward because their belief in themselves is stronger than their doubt. It is not enough to simply wish for a better life. You have to train your mind to think in alignment with the life you desire. That means being mindful of the words you speak over yourself, the beliefs you hold on to, and the thoughts you entertain. It means becoming intentional about the messages you allow into your mind. What are you listening to? Who are you surrounding yourself with? What kind of conversations are you having? If you want to transform your life, you have to start by transforming your thinking. Your mind is like a filter, and everything you experience in life is processed through it. Two people can go through the same situation and come out with completely different outcomes because of the way they think. One person sees failure as the end while the other sees it as a lesson. One person sees rejection as proof that they are not good enough, while the other sees it as redirection towards something better. The way you think determines the way you experience life. It determines the level of confidence you bring into a room. It determines the risks you are willing to take. It determines how resilient you are in the face of setbacks. Your mindset is the foundation of everything. If you are not happy with where you are, start by examining the way you think. Are you holding on to thoughts of defeat? Are you playing small because you have convinced yourself that success is for other people but not for you? Are you hesitating to step into your purpose because fear has taken up too much space in your mind? The good news is that no matter how long you have been thinking in a way that does not serve you, you can change it. You can rewire your mind to think in a way that empowers you. You can let go of the thoughts that have kept you stuck and replace them with thoughts that move you forward. You have to protect your mind the same way you protect your body. Just like you wouldn't allow toxic food to poison your health, you shouldn't allow toxic thoughts to poison your future. Be mindful of what you allow to take root in your mind. Be intentional about the beliefs you hold on to. Understand that every thought you accept is shaping your reality. When you take control of your mind, you take control of your life. Infected thinking is one of the greatest barriers to success, yet most people don't even realize they are trapped by it. It's the kind of thinking that keeps you in the same place year after year, wondering why nothing is changing. It's the voice in your mind that whispers doubt every time you try to step into something greater. It's the fear that convinces you to stay where it's comfortable, even though you know you were meant for more. Infected thinking spreads silently, slowly shaping your actions, your choices, and ultimately your life. If you don't take control of it, it will take control of you. It is the hidden enemy that holds people back from their true potential, making them believe they are incapable, unworthy, or destined for mediocrity. It creates a mental prison that locks people inside patterns of self-doubt, procrastination, and fear of failure. It convinces them that their past defines them, that their mistakes are permanent, and that success is reserved for others but not for them. The problem with infected thinking is that it often comes disguised as truth. It doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it's just a quiet, persistent belief in the back of your mind that tells you things will never change. It can come from past experiences, from things people have said, or from the way you've been conditioned to see yourself. Over time, these thoughts become deeply ingrained, shaping the way you approach life. If you constantly tell yourself that you are not good enough, you will subconsciously create a life that reflects that belief. If you think opportunities never come your way, you will overlook the very opportunities that could change everything. If you see failure as proof that you should stop trying, you will never give yourself the chance to rise again. Many people live their entire lives under the weight of infected thinking, never realizing that they have the power to change it. They accept their thoughts as facts instead of questioning where they came from. They assume that because they've always thought a certain way, it must be the truth. But your thoughts are not facts. Just because you think something doesn't mean it's true. You might believe that success is out of reach, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. The real danger of infected thinking is that it blinds you to the possibilities that exist for your life. It keeps you trapped in a limited mindset, unable to see beyond your current situation. It convinces you that you are stuck when in reality, you are only one decision away from breaking free. One of the most common symptoms of infected thinking is the habit of making excuses. People tell themselves that they don't have the time, the money, the connections, or the right circumstances to go after their dreams. They believe they need everything to be perfect before they can take the first step. But perfection is an illusion, and waiting for the right moment only leads to more delay. The truth is, there will never be a perfect time. There will never be a moment when fear completely disappears or when you feel fully ready. The only way to move forward is to take action despite the fear, despite the uncertainty, despite the doubts in your mind. Infected thinking also shows up as self-sabotage. People get close to success, but then they pull back because deep down, they don't believe they deserve it. They start a new habit, but then they fall back into old patterns because their mind is still programmed for the life they are trying to leave behind. They receive an opportunity, but instead of embracing it, they question whether they are good enough. This is the power of the mind. If you don't intentionally reprogram it, it will keep leading you back to what is familiar, even if that familiarity is holding you back. Your mind will always try to keep you safe, but sometimes what feels safe is actually what's keeping you small. Infected thinking is the reason people settle for less than they deserve. It's the reason they stay in relationships that drain them, jobs that don't fulfill them, and environments that limit them. They tell themselves that this is just the way life is, that they shouldn't expect too much, that they should be grateful for what they have. And yes, gratitude is important, but gratitude does not mean settling. Gratitude does not mean accepting a life that does not align with your purpose. Gratitude does not mean silencing the voice inside you that knows you were made for more. The world does not benefit from you playing small. Your dreams were placed inside you for a reason. Your talents, your passions, your purpose, it's all connected to the impact you are meant to make. But you cannot step into that impact if your mind is infected with doubt, fear, and limiting beliefs. You have to make the decision to detox your mind from every thought that is not serving you. You have to get intentional about what you allow into your mental space. That means becoming aware of the way you talk to yourself. That means questioning every thought that tries to convince you that you are not enough. That means surrounding yourself with people who uplift you instead of people who reinforce your limitations. It means being careful about what you listen to, what you read, what you watch, and what you consume daily. Your mind is constantly absorbing information. And if you are not careful, you can unknowingly reinforce the very thoughts you are trying to get rid of. Reprogramming your mind requires discipline. It means actively choosing to replace negative thoughts with empowering ones. It means catching yourself when you start to doubt and immediately shifting your focus to what is possible. It means refusing to let fear dictate your decisions. Every time your mind tries to tell you that you can't, you have to respond with, I can and I will. Every time doubt tries to creep in, you have to remind yourself of all the reasons you are capable. Every time fear tells you to shrink back, you have to stand taller and take the next step forward. This is not something that happens overnight. It is a daily practice, a commitment to yourself and your future. But the more you do it, the stronger your mindset becomes. The more you choose thoughts of power over thoughts of limitation, the more you reshape your reality. Because at the end of the day, your life will always reflect the way you think. If you want a different life, you have to start by thinking differently. If you want success, you have to start seeing yourself as someone who is worthy of it. If you want opportunities, you have to believe that they are available to you. The moment you shift your mindset, everything else will start to shift with it. Your mind is filled with thoughts every single day. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself where those thoughts come from? Have you ever paused and examined whether the beliefs you carry are truly yours or if they were placed in you by someone else? So many people go through life carrying ideas about themselves that they never chose. They were told something when they were younger, and now, years later, they still believe it. They had one bad experience, and now they let it define their entire identity. But the truth is, not every thought you have is yours. Not every belief you hold is true. Not every idea that enters your mind is something you have to accept. You have to start questioning the source of your thoughts, because the way you think is shaping the way you live. Many of the thoughts people carry were given to them by their upbringing. If you grew up in an environment where people told you that success was difficult, that you had to struggle, that you had to settle for what you could get, then you may still be living by those beliefs without even realizing it. If you were surrounded by negativity, if you were told to be realistic instead of dreaming big, if you were constantly reminded of what you couldn't do instead of what you could, then those words may have taken root in your mind. You might be operating under limitations that were never yours to begin with. The people around you, even those who love you, may have planted seeds of doubt without meaning to. They may have projected their own fears, their own failures, their own insecurities onto you, and if you never questioned it, you may have accepted those fears as truth. Then there are thoughts that come from past experiences. Maybe you failed at something once, and now you tell yourself that you will never succeed. Maybe you were rejected, and now you assume that no one will ever choose you. Maybe you made a mistake, and now you believe that you are not worthy of success, happiness, or love. But just because something happened to you does not mean it has to define you. Just because you face a setback does not mean your future is ruined. The problem is that when something painful happens, your mind tries to protect you by remembering it. It tries to keep you from feeling that pain again, so it creates a story around it. It tells you that you are not good enough, that you shouldn't try again, that you should just stay where you are. But that is not truth. It is just a story your mind created to keep you safe. And if you never question it, if you never challenge it, then that story will control your life. Society also plays a role in shaping the way people think. From a young age, you are told what is possible and what is not. You are told who you should be, what you should want, and how you should live. You are given a definition of success, of happiness, of what it means to be valuable. And if you do not stop and question it, you may find yourself chasing a life that does not even belong to you. You may be living under expectations that have nothing to do with who you really are. You may be measuring yourself against a standard that was never meant for you. The world will try to put you in a box, but it is your job to break free. It is your job to decide what is true for you. It is your job to create your own definition of success, your own vision for your life, your own path forward. Fear is another major source of the thoughts that hold you back. Fear is not always loud. It does not always scream at you to stop. Sometimes it is quiet. Sometimes it shows up as hesitation, as procrastination, as self-doubt. It makes you question yourself. It makes you believe that you are not ready. It convinces you that you need more time, more experience, more validation. It tells you that you should wait, that you should play it safe, that you should not take risks. But fear is a liar. Fear will keep you trapped in a life that is smaller than the one you were meant to live. Fear will keep you from stepping into opportunities that were meant for you. Fear will make you believe that you are not capable, when in reality, you already have everything you need to succeed. If you do not take control of your thoughts will take control of you. If you do not decide what you believe, the world will decide for you. You have to become intentional about what you allow into your mind. You have to start questioning the voices that tell you that you are not enough. You have to challenge the beliefs that tell you that you cannot achieve what you desire. You have to recognize that just because a thought enters your mind does not mean you have to accept it as truth. Negative thoughts are like weeds in a garden. If you don't take control and remove them, they will grow, take over, and choke out the good things in your life. Your mind is a powerful place, and what you allow to stay in it will determine the direction of your life. Too often, people go through their days accepting every thought that comes into their minds as if they have no control over them. They let worries, doubts, and fears settle in, believing that those thoughts are just a natural part of life. But you don't have to let negative thoughts stay. You have the power to reject them, to replace them, and to choose thoughts that build you up rather than tear you down. The key is to recognize those toxic thoughts before they take root, before they start shaping your beliefs and influencing your actions. The problem with negative thoughts is that they often seem small at first. A little doubt here, a little worry there, a little insecurity creeping in. But if you allow them to stay, they begin to grow stronger. One negative thought leads to another, and before you know it, your entire mindset has shifted. You start seeing yourself as less than, you start expecting things to go wrong, and you stop believing in the good things that are ahead. That's why it's so important to deal with negative thoughts the moment they appear. Don't give them room to grow. Don't entertain them. The longer you allow them to stay, the harder they are to remove. One of the most common types of negative thinking is self-doubt, that little voice that says, "You're not good enough. You don't have what it takes. You'll never succeed." These thoughts may come from past experiences, from things people have said, or from mistakes you've made, but just because they come doesn't mean you have to accept them. You have to challenge those thoughts. Instead of agreeing with them, replace them with the truth. When the thought says, "I'm not good enough," remind yourself, "I am more than enough. I have everything I need." When the thought says, "I'll never succeed," remind yourself, "I am capable and success is in my future." Your words have power, and the more you speak words of faith and confidence, the weaker those negative thoughts become. Fear-based thinking is another form of negativity that can hold you back. When you allow fear to dominate your mind, it will keep you from stepping into the life you were meant to live. Fear tells you to play it safe, to stay where you are, to avoid taking risks. But growth requires stepping out of your comfort zone, and that means you have to overcome fear. The best way to do that is to refuse to let fearful thoughts control your actions. When fear says, "What if it doesn't work out?" respond with, "What if it does?" When fear says, "You might fail," respond with, "Even if I stumble, I will rise again." Fear loses its power when you refuse to give it authority over your decisions. Negativity often disguises itself as realism. You might think, I'm just being practical, when in reality you're allowing limiting beliefs to shape your mindset. Being realistic doesn't mean expecting the worst. It doesn't mean focusing on every possible problem and talking yourself out of taking action. True realism is seeing the challenges, but believing you have the strength to overcome them. It's acknowledging the obstacles, but knowing that they are not bigger than your determination. If your version of being realistic is filled with doubt and negativity, it's time to shift your perspective. Choose to be realistic about your potential, about your ability to learn, grow, and succeed. One of the biggest challenges with negative thoughts is that they often come from past experiences. If you've been through difficulties, disappointments, or failures, your mind may try to use those experiences as proof that things won't work out in the future. But your past does not define your future. Just because something didn't go as planned before doesn't mean it won't go right this time. Just because you face setbacks doesn't mean you won't rise higher than ever. Negative thoughts will try to keep you stuck in the past, reminding you of every mistake, every failure, every hurt. But you don't have to stay there. You have the power to let go, to move forward, and to believe in new possibilities. Your environment also plays a huge role in shaping your thoughts. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, it's going to be difficult to maintain a positive mindset. The conversations you engage in, the media you consume, the people you spend time with, all of these influence the way you think. If you're always around people who complain, who focus on problems rather than solutions, who speak words of doubt and discouragement, that negativity will seep into your mind. That's why it's so important to be intentional about your influences. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, who speak words of encouragement, who inspire you to grow. Choose to fill your mind with content that strengthens you rather than weakens you. Another powerful way to remove negative thoughts is to practice gratitude. When you make it a habit to focus on what's good in your life, it becomes harder for negativity to take hold. Gratitude shifts your perspective. Instead of dwelling on what's wrong, you start seeing what's right. Instead of focusing on what you lack, you start appreciating what you have. Every day there are blessings all around you. There is something to be thankful for, no matter what's happening. When you train your mind to look for the good, you weaken the power of negative thinking. You create space for more joy, more peace, and more hope. Another common source of negative thoughts is comparison. When you constantly compare yourself to others, it's easy to feel like you're not measuring up. You see someone else's success and start doubting your own progress. You see someone else's highlight reel and start feeling like your life isn't good enough. But comparison is a trap. It robs you of your confidence and steals your joy. The truth is, you are on your own unique journey. You are not meant to be like anyone else. You have your own path, your own timing, and your own purpose. When you stop comparing yourself and start focusing on your own growth, you free yourself from unnecessary negativity. Your thoughts shape your words, and your words shape your reality. If you constantly speak negative things over your life, you are reinforcing those thoughts. If you say, "I'm always unlucky, nothing ever works out for me, I'll never get ahead," then you are programming your mind to believe those things. But when you start speaking words of faith, confidence, and victory, you shift your mindset. Speak what you want to see, not what you fear. Say, I am strong, I am blessed, good things are coming my way. The more you speak these words, the more your mind aligns with them. Removing negative thoughts is not something that happens overnight. It's a daily process, a conscious